Welcome to the show. This is the Immigrant Spirit podcast. I'm your host, Chris Piak. And today we talk about a company that makes children and their parents very happy for many, many years. We talk about English jobs at MyToys. And my guests today are Maximilian Schlutter, who is in charge of recruiting at MyToys. Hello, Maximilian.
Hello.
And Roger Mitchell, who is the Vice President of Technology at MyToys. Hello, Roger.
Hi there, Chris.
Max, before we start, maybe tell us a little bit about what is MyToys, because most people have an idea about MyToys. It's a brand name that everybody knows. It's a household name, but you do so much more nowadays.
Yes, of course. So for everyone who hasn't heard about MyToys Group yet, we are a multi-shop platform, an e-commerce company providing very specialized and very targeted products for young families. MyToys was our original brand that we already founded 20 years ago. So with this brand, we have quite a lot of experience where we sell children products, toys, school supplies, everything a toddler to a teenager might need. But since then, we have expanded and added 2 more shops to our platform. We have Mirapodo, the more fashion-centric shop, and we have Yomonda, which is a home and living brand, so interior design, furniture items. So we have now a multi-shop platform. So behind the name MyToys are 3 different shops, plus a shopping community called Limango, a private shoppers club, so to speak. And we are the leading e-commerce brand for everything around children products.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine that this is quite a challenge because things they don't only double when you add another brand, they multiply in complications. Roger, what is one of the main challenges from a technology point of view for MyToys at the moment?
Sure. So MyToys is going through a once-in-a-generation change right now. We're moving from being an online retailer to an online retail platform, and that requires a complete technology transformation. And the main thing that we've got to get right, and that we're doing at the moment, is making sure that as a platform we can connect lots of suppliers, lots of new products, expand our range. We also need to make sure that our experience is the best for young families on the web. And that means having a great website, great brands, great mobile applications, and it's about scale and the speed of experience. All of that is changing, and we're making some great progress, but we need people who are excited by that once in a generation technology transformation and business change to a platform, and our ongoing technology improvements and learnings.
Mm-hmm. And in order to achieve this goal and to find the people that can help you move towards this goal, as far as I understand, MyToys has made a major change 1 year ago, or when did you start to hire internationally?
Well, we have always kept an eye out, but I think just since last year, we really have focused our hiring strategy on really being open to any background. So not just inside the EU, but also beyond the EU, overseas, hiring the best talent there is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How many positions do you offer for English-speaking candidates, and what kind of positions are these usually?
It always changes, of course. At the moment, we have around 50 or 40, between 40 and 50 open positions for English speakers. These are still mainly in the tech areas, but we have there a very broad spectrum of roles, from analytics, so data scientists, analysts, and BI people, to the developer departments and administrative operations departments, but also product and the platform management, so UX, UI design, and the more product owner roles.
Mm-hmm. And today there's an echo for some reason. Okay. today we talk about developer position in more detail, if I understand correctly. But before we do this and talk about the concrete position that we want to discuss today, Roger, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the technological challenges that everybody who will join this IT department will have to help to solve. It's a very complicated way of saying what you try to do in the IT department, in technology, and what kind of people do you need to help you with that?
Yeah, I think there's questions of technology and there's also questions of culture. So I think it was really significant when the MyToys board decided to appoint an English-speaking technology leader. I'm very much enjoying my time in Berlin. I'm living here now. And what I'm trying to do is build a really strong technology culture within MyToys. I think we succeed through our people. It's a learning culture. The most important thing we can be doing when you're doing major and ongoing technology transformation is you have to learn and iterate and get things right with the customer. And we're making some really big changes. So it's important that we have a culture that understands failing as well as succeeding and is able to adapt. In terms of the technologies that we're using, there are a number of things that we're doing. We're moving many of our systems to the cloud. That started a little bit before I joined, but we're really pushing fast now. We're transforming, automating, standardizing, and both our deployment and testing systems so that we're able to scale properly, not just on the cloud, but across the whole of our data center as well. At the same time, we're changing all of the main frameworks that are powering the user experience. So there's a lot of change, whether it's programming languages, frameworks that we're using, or simply breaking apart any monolithic structures that we have within our architecture, verticalizing those and making sure that from the experience and presentation all the way through the microservices to the persistence layer, that is a discrete unit, and that means we can deliver faster.
And when you think about the kind of professional who could help you the most to achieve these goals, what are you looking for in them the most? Are you looking for a skill set, or do you look for an attitude? What is it that the best people should bring to the table?
I think Max is doing a lot of our hiring, so maybe Max talk a little bit about the kind of culture and cultural fit that we want, but then I'd like to pick up on a little bit more of what we expect from technology professionals.
Yeah, okay, let's do that.
I can see. So, of course, we can derive what profile we are looking for from this change that Roger spoke about, and so what we're looking for in people is mainly what you mentioned with attitude, learning, a readiness to learn, curiosity, ability to evaluate and compare technologies and move on, make decisions about what is the next step here in this line. There's of course a lot of questions that we haven't have the answers yet for. There's a lot of new developments also, and so we need people who really want to think about these things. So not the stereotype developer that is sitting there coding away his lines and then delivering this package, but really someone who wants to interact, who wants to get an exchange with also other teams and find out what are the dependencies here. And so we can move on as a whole IT in the right direction and not disperse.
Okay. And if let's talk about the technology first.
So from a technology perspective, that thinking continues. So we set up architecture forums and boards, and it's really important that people are joining because they're excited about technology, because they want to learn from others, and they want to share what they know, and they can understand a number of different technology progressions. So what are the frameworks we're on at the moment? What are the ones we want to move to? Why do we want to do that? And there are no just technology choices on their own. There's always, what does that mean to the customer? What does that mean for how we scale and maintain? And also, how do we get the right skills going forward so that this knowledge is spread across the team? So we're looking for people who can think deep. That means they understand everything about their process and the experience for the customer, but also they're interested and excited about moving from this area to that area.
Okay. So if I'm interested in a job with MyToys and I think I can help you reach these solutions, then of course I will send my application to you, and will first go to you, Max, and then later to you, Roger. So how could I demonstrate to you in the form of an application that I have what you want, that I can help you solve your problem? What should I do?
Yes. So what I always encourage candidates to do is really focus on their motivation, to reflect on why are they doing the things they're doing, for what purpose, what gives them satisfaction in their job, and tell us that and be open about this. So we don't need you to write us a cover letter or a motivational letter per se, but to answer this question somehow in your documents, in the application form you can fill out, is very helpful. We need this drive to see this. And when it comes to the CV, of course, since we are hiring from all nationalities, there's all kinds of forms for that and all kinds of rules. I'm very open. We want to see, what are your achievements? What has been your impact so far? What do you think will stay in the company that you're leaving, that you implemented? And tell us about that, and what else you want to achieve. These, I think, are the key factors. So we don't need a specific form. We don't need certain documents. We just want to hear your motivation and drive.
And from the technology side, Chris, I think we're looking for people who believe in engineering craftsmanship, those who can understand different approaches and words like agile, but really practical experience of making it work rather than just theoretical knowledge. What we want to do is build teams where the teams themselves are making lots of decisions. They're very empowered, and we trust in those teams to get the right technology in place, to make sure we get the right interaction with other teams, and that they are overall a healthy engineering culture.
Okay. Since both of you are basically the decision makers for these roles, if I could sneak into your office and look over your shoulder, Roger, while you look at CVs, and you look at the CVs that Max has pre-selected for you, what is catching your eye? What is catching your interest when you look at them?
Yes. So we talked about that passion for engineering. I'm looking for that from developers, but also for other roles, technology leaders that we're hiring. I'm looking also for achievements, but it's nice now that we've opened up the market to English-speaking colleagues joining us. That broadens it enormously, and that means we can get international experiences, because e-commerce is done differently in different countries. So we get that broadest range of experience, and what we look at is someone who has experienced the German market, but also what do they think of the way that e-commerce is done in the US or in other parts of Europe, or even further afield in Asia, and what can we learn from that? And those achievements are just as interesting to me as the more fact-based or technically based skills lists.
Okay, so we know a lot now about what you are looking for. What do you have to offer to candidates?
Well, let me start.
It's a very German formulation, you know, very direct.
That's fine. So what does MyToys Group offer for candidates? There's multiple things. One that we already hinted at is culture. Like, it wouldn't be so important for us to hire people for a certain culture if we didn't have a high opinion of our internal culture. What you can expect here is a very open-minded environment that allows a lot of autonomy, that demands a lot of autonomy, that gives you your freedom, and where we put trust in your skills. Like when we hire you, we trust you that you know what you're doing, and let you decide what are your best practices, how do you want to approach this, take charge of the tasks that are ahead of you. This is like a culture, I think it's very strongly lived here. It's also a very flexible culture that we offer. We have trusted working hours. You can decide how you divide your time. When do you come to the office? When do you leave? You have a lot of the leaders available to you, like all the department leads and even Roger as the head of IT are here on the floor, open to listen and hear your opinions. And I think you don't have that in many companies, that you have this direct access to decision makers. Yeah. This is just the cultural part, and maybe from a technology standpoint, where our ambitions lie, there's some other points that are really interesting, I think.
Yeah, okay. Actually, some of my best conversations in the day are when team members are coming to talk to me about areas where they're really interested and they think they can make more impact. So it is that kind of culture that we're trying to promote.
Yeah, and I think the point also is that we think long term. So when you join us, we will make sure that we kind of observe what is your career trajectory, where are you developing to. We have a lot of internal education classes and courses that we offer. This is not just language classes, these are managerial leadership classes, but also we have budgets to bring people to the conventions and to the events that they can get the best education from. And we really have this mobility, not just vertically, but also horizontally. So someone who is a developer and likes to go to DevOps, or they think, well, I would like to go into more data engineering and data warehouse stuff. We always encourage also doing these side steps and contributing somewhere else. And so that we're really open for that too. So when you join.
Mm-hmm. So how do I do this practically? If I want to apply for a job at MyToys, where do I go, and what kind of documents do you want me to send you to make your life easier?
Yeah, so you basically have two options. You can go to our career site, the formal way, and MyToysJobs.de, and follow us there. We have an English and a German page, and yeah, just apply there, send us your CV, and write us a little bit about yourself. But you can also find me on LinkedIn and on Xing. So if you just want to chat me up and say, hey, maybe I think I could fit there, please just write me there. So these are the two options that you have.
Yeah, wonderful. And I will also link to your career website here in the show notes of the podcast episode. What is one thing that you personally really love about working at MyToys? Roger, maybe start.
Yeah, I think MyToys is offering something that is not generally found in the market. I think there are some very traditional roles and companies that feel a little big and you can't get stuff done and there's too many layers. We're definitely not that. We're also maybe not quite so transient as some of the consulting companies where there's maybe too much change and you're always moving around. So what we try to offer is that balance. And that is something you feel it immediately when you come into MyToys, the warmth of the culture, that open-mindedness that we're going to make some decisions, but we're going to get some of these, some of the thinking and learning done together. And also that big picture that MyToys is shifting its business model. And that's really exciting because when you do that, that means you have to change your technology, and it means we have to move at pace so that we can do that. And it's a very exciting thing to be part of.
I think if you start here, no matter on what experience level you are, you can contribute a lot already from the beginning, and you have the autonomy to really realize your own projects and your own ideas and bring them to the table. And this is kind of something that's from the first day, basically, you can start there, and people will listen to you. And this is something that really encourages me and makes it really fun. And also, since we are in this phase of the development into this platform, there's a lot of new things coming up. So you can learn a lot here also, and it's really makes it really fun and exciting every day.
Yeah, and by the way, for you as a listener, one thing that I learned in 30 years in a career is that whenever there's something new happening in a company, like is now going on with MyToys, that's an excellent opportunity to build a great career. Because suddenly things that were unthinkable 2-3 years ago can happen very, very fast. So this is really a great opportunity to build an awesome career in Germany. And MyToys is a wonderful employer. So I invite all of you to check out MyToys career website. I will link to it in the show notes, and hopefully find a great new job with wonderful colleagues. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Max. This was the Immigrant Spirit podcast. We listen to each other again in 2 weeks with a new episode with a new German employer who is hiring in English. And if you want to get 100 German employers who hire in English and you haven't signed up to my newsletter yet, do this at immigrantspirit.com. Sign up to the newsletter. You get immediately a list with 100 German employers that hire in English. And of course, access to lots of interviews with German employer like MyToys, for example. Thank you, Max, and thank you, Roger.
Thanks,
Chris.
Much.